Any Igbo man that wants to run for presidency, go ahead and run. Do not listen to Ohanaeze Indigbo. It is clear, it is certain that socio-political groups are fast losing their relevance. We had our own tiff between factions of Afenifere on who to endorse in the last elections. Till today, that tiff is still on, although some of them say they are trying to reconcile. Socio-political groups cannot hold the ace of anybody's ambition. The analogy that the surest path to presidency will be waiting till 2035 is their own agenda. And you have seen clearly, they put somebody, mention the name in their own agenda, which is Umahi. So that's the Ohanaeze Indigbo's Umahi's agenda. It's different from the free rights you have as enshrined in the Constitution. No socio-political group can tell you your faith. That's just it. But I'm not surprised. A women's wing of Ohanaeze, I think, tilted towards Atiku in the last election. Professor George Obi, also when he was alive then, tilted towards Obi. So the truth is, no socio-political group. They are just like another pressure group. And what
announced that no Igbo man will contest for the presidency in 2027 against the incumbent president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The group says that the possibility of the Southeast producing the president of Nigeria can only be achieved in 2035, not 2027. In a statement signed by the Deputy President General of the Ohanaeze Indigbo faction, Okechukwu Isiguzor, and a national spokesman, Thompson Ohia, they revealed that a decision was taken at a crucial meeting with Southeast political leaders in which they resolved that no Igbo man will contest presidency in 2027, signaling the rejection of a one-term bid. They insist that the most practicable political vehicle for the pursuit of the Igbo presidency lies within the All Progressives Congress in 2035 if the zoning formula is altered, saying that among notable Igbo sons, the Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, stands out as the most outstanding candidate to lead the country. He described the theme of the conference, Stand Out, Stand Tall, as apt, said judicial reforms in the country were long overdue. The keynote speaker and founder of South Africa's economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, went down memory lane discussing issues bedeviling Africa. Malema urged Nigeria and South Africa to strengthen the bonds between them. He warned African countries against unnecessary borrowing of money from Bretton Woods institutions like the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, saying such borrowings constitute a debt trap. He praised Nigeria's support for South Africa's anti-apartheid struggles and urged closer economic ties between both countries.
Nigeria is not just another African country to us. It is a comrade nation, one that stood firmly by our side during our darkest hour. When South Africa was shackled by apartheid, when our people were murdered, imprisoned, and denied basic humanity, Nigeria rose as a giant for justice, placing South Africa squarely at the center of its foreign policy. This bond between South Africa and Nigeria must be carried forward into the present, not just in political sentiment, but in concrete economic collaboration. Both our nations stand as giants of the continent. South Africa, with its industrial base, mining capacity, and advanced financial system. Nigeria, with its vast population, vibrant entrepreneurial spirit, oil and gas resources, and cultural dynamism that has captured the imagination of the world. Together, we hold the keys to Africa's industrialization and economic independence.
By this theme, you wish to deliver on the expectations of society on your professional mandate. This is spot on. Today, justice is increasingly becoming purchasable commodity, and the poor are becoming victims of miscarriage of justice, while the rich commit all matters of crime and walk the streets scot-free.
The theme is more than a slogan. It is a charge to stand out, to be visible, not for show, but for service, excellence, resilience, dedication, focus, perseverance, and service to prosper. To stand tall is to uphold dignity, integrity, and honor, even when the odds are stacked high and difficult decisions must be made in the best interest of the legal profession and the country. Standing tall means being unbending in our defense of the rule of law, equity and justice, and being principled in the face of power and unwavering in our pursuit of national progress. We must have the courage of conviction in moments where silence would otherwise be more comfortable. To build a strong and economically viable nation, sacrifice will routinely be required of individual citizens. We must do this when others are mediocre. This is a call we must embrace.
I prefer to see us as partners with a shared purpose, ensuring justice, strengthening democracy, and building a society where the law protects every citizen. That is the bond that unites us.
And finally, some positive news. Premium Trust Bank is delighted to announce that...
Indigbo, please, any Igbo man that wants to run for presidency, go ahead and run. Do not listen to Ohanaeze Indigbo. It is clear, it is certain that socio-political groups are fast losing their relevance. We had our own tiff between factions of Afenifere on who to endorse in the last elections. Till today, that tiff is still on, although some of them say they are trying to reconcile. Socio-political groups cannot hold the ace of anybody's ambition. The analogy that the surest path to presidency will be waiting till 2035 is their own agenda. And you have seen clearly, they put somebody, mention the name in their own agenda, which is Umahi. So that's the Ohanaeze Indigbo's Umahi's agenda. It's different from the free rights you have as enshrined in the Constitution. No socio-political group can tell you your faith. That's just it. But I'm not surprised. A women's wing of Ohanaeze, I think, tilted towards Atiku in the last election. Professor George Obi, also when he was alive then, tilted towards Obi. So the truth is, no socio-political group, they are just like another pressure group. And what pressure groups do is, they come out of their pressure cooker and talk. It doesn't mean it's a generality. I just have to set that straight. Secondly, about Atiku Abubakar, yes, he has a right to run. Everybody will compete effectively in the field and we'll see who will emerge. Because there have been indications that he will not run, he should not run. I'm not going to stop anybody's right to run. But I'm also going to say some things this morning. Number one, we have to say it the way it is. If you have candidates in this coalition that can't come together because of their ambition, definitely it will fracture the coalition in such a way that it will make it an easier ticket for President Tinubu. So while all of them are jostling to have capacity, in the emergence of a particular candidate, it is in their best interest that they work together. If they don't work together, they make it easier. And that's just it. It shows from history, it's better to have a coalition of forces to fight against an incumbent. It's not today we've been doing it. In 1999, we did the same. Olufalaye and March in Kafi, NPP, and what's it called, the Alliance for Democracy had to come together to fight the march of Olusegun Obasanjo. The APC also reprised that with the coalition of APGA and other political parties, and even some people out of the PDP coming together to be able to fight incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan, then in 2015. It's better off that way because you have a better footing and you have a coalition of forces to pretty much do that. But in the case where there's an emergence of a candidate from the coalition and there's a division, it makes it easier for President Tinubu. And trust me, President Tinubu will not sit down and allow you come together. He doesn't even want it in the first place because he's a politician and he also wants to win. That's just my beat about that. The other point this morning will be that of the NBA conference. And it's apt. In fact, kudos to the NBA. Because the NBA conference holding in Enugu is an act of defiance in itself. We all know the story. They left Rivers, that was supposed to be the initial host, because of the state of emergency declared, which they have strong objections to. But the sad reality is that till date, that case has not been heard by the Supreme Court. Are we waiting till the end of the expiration of state of emergency before we now hear the case and say it's been overtaken by events? Because you see, if we don't hear the case, when we ask the questions of what happened to democracy in Nigeria, we will mention the courts. And I want those conversations about the state of emergency to also be brought up at this NBA conference. And why is the Supreme Court finding it difficult to be able to hear cases, especially when they are time-bound like that? When you see in this same Rivers case, there were other judgments that were speedily dispensed by the court, especially the local government issue, if you remember. Yeah. And as of today, the bone of contention by a lot of people leading up to this local government election on the 30th of August is the same 90 days clause at which those associated to Wike went to court last year. That's what some people are also proving now, but they are saying because there's a state of emergency and there's a suspension of the laws of the land in the state that they can go ahead and do the election. So you can see what one man complained about last year, today is no longer a problem for him. And when we point out this hypocrisy, people say, oh, why do you point out? But see, we have to point out hypocrisy. Because you know why? Hypocrisy is the homage that vice pays to virtue. Let's not forget that. Hypocrisy is the homage that vice pays to virtue. People that have vices also want to act like they are virtuous. And that's where they go the line of hypocrisy. I didn't say those words. Francois de la Rochefoucauld said those words many, many years ago. Kudos to Malema on what he said.
All right, Dr. Bati.
Okay, let me start with Julius Malema. MBA conference, stand tall, stand out, stand tall. Now holding in Enugu. After all that drama with the Rivers State government, over 300 million naira. Now the MBA conference started over the weekend in Enugu, the coast city, the historic city. First, congratulations to the Enugu State government and the governor, Dr. Peter Mba, for hosting the Nigerian Bar Association and for promising them that it will be a memorable experience. And I've seen evidence of that. If I don't have any further evidence, at least I can point to, what's this man from Kogi's name?
With the governor?
No.
Oh, Dino Melaye.
Dino Melaye, dancing with Afamos Igwe, SAN, you know, at an evening event and trying to compete. In other words, I say the guys are having a lot of fun. And then the attendance has been very high quality. So congratulations also to the NBA to have moved very quickly away from the 300 million thing around their neck to go from Port Harcourt to go to Enugu. And Afamos Igwe, you know, hosting this leading this very important event. As to the themes, the issues that will be talked about, they are very modern things about AI, about inclusivity, about the future of the farm. What would the Nigerian law firm look like, you know, in the immediate future? But the main issue that we're talking about is first the presence of Julius Malema. Julius Malema, an important political figure, leader of the economic freedom fighters in South African Parliament, you know, was the keynote speaker at the event. And I think that some of the points that he made, aside the whatever drama others may attach to it, are very important. His point about, look, borrowing, that African leaders must just run away from borrowing. The same thing that we say on this platform almost on a daily basis. Two, he was calling for deeper economic collaboration, cooperation between Nigeria and South Africa. And I think that as two of the largest economies in Africa, that is also a very good point that he made on that occasion. He decried xenophobia, something that is you know, a sore point for many Nigerians because of the way Nigerians are treated in South Africa. So you have Julius Malema, leader of one of the major opposition parties in South Africa, telling us that xenophobia is not good. Africans should unite. Africans should solidarize. I think he was also on point in that particular regard. And then, of course, he talked about, or rather, he acknowledged Nigeria's historic role in the South African liberation process, something that the present generation of young South Africans, the Gen Z generation, don't even remember. And many Nigerians feel very bad that at the time the South Africans were fighting for their freedom from the clutches of apartheid, Nigeria was there for them. Nigeria stood tall for them. And so here we have Julius Malema, you know, coming to Nigeria and reminding us that, look, you are our brothers. And I think that this is about statesmanship. Julius Malema, if he was in the parliament in South Africa, he would probably be wearing a red jacket and be making trouble. But, you know, he came here to the NBA conference in Enugu and he spoke truth to power, particularly his commentary about the hypocrisy of international justice, something that we have seen very well most recently, and that we talk about all the time here, whether it's with regard to Ukraine and Russia, or with regard to Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, or the neglect of the politics of South Sudan. So Julius Malema is welcome to Nigeria, and he can enjoy himself as much as he wants, because Nigerians are very hospitable people. I think he spoke well. And then the Sultan also spoke well. The Sultan was reminding the Nigerian Bar Association as a civil society group of its responsibility within that civic space, which is to promote unity, which is to promote social justice, which is to stand tall for justice by promoting access to justice for marginalized persons in this Nigerian community. And I think, you know, the Sultan was very right in saying that NBA has a responsibility to break barriers in terms of access to social justice. To be fair, without being unnecessarily sycophantic. I think under Mekiawu, SAN, you know, who was the former NBA president, and now Afamos Igwe, there's been an attempt to sustain a a tradition and a reputation of the MBA fighting for social justice. Most recently, under Mekiawu fought for the review of the salaries of judicial workers, and he succeeded in that regard. Now, Afamos Igwe has collected a baton from him, and he too is fighting social justice issues. He intervened, for example, in the Emansin case, and that is of very recent memory. So the expectation of the MBA of the future is that it will be an association that will be a strong pillar in civil society, fighting for rights and fighting for social justice. In the Emansin case, Comfort Emansin, the MBA even declared that it will fight pro bono for the rights of Mr. Emansin. So all of this is on all fours with the advice of the Sultan of Sokoto. The issues are many. I just want to take them in seriatim. Now, the other issue is about NUPRC, NMPC, FAC allocation, and FIRS putting more money into the collective pot. Well, it is good news if that is true. It is good news if it is indeed true that the federal government has been able to collect 1.49 trillion in terms of arrears owed by all these agencies, NUPRC, NMPC, FIRS, and others. Now, the main issue here is about federal government revenue. What they have collected will boost revenue. It means that there will be more money, more revenue at the federal, state, and local council levels. And we hope, our hope is that that money collected as distributable pool will be used for the purpose of development, and the effect will be felt by the people. But what it says, in my view, is also about the performance of the Buhari administration. Under the Buhari administration, everybody was just doing what they liked. They were all looking for ways to hide money, to steal money. So what the Tinubu administration is doing is about transparency and accountability. And I've seen a commentary saying that, in fact, we have collected back 1.49 trillion since January, but that there's still more money hidden within the system. And that was part of the error of the incompetence of the Buhari administration, where, government enterprises, departments of states, revenue-generating agencies resorted to self-help. So to the extent that the Tinubu administration is trying to correct that, I think it's a very good development. However, I hope that special attention will be paid to transaction costs, because many of these agencies and departments of government, they also have what they call transaction costs. So if you collect all of this from them and they have remitted, I hope the budgetary allocations to those departments and government enterprises will be retained, so that we will not have excuses in terms of performance. Now, the topics are many, I don't know. But okay, let me deal with the Atiku Abubakar topic. Now, Professor Olateju was the name of the gentleman who represented the ADC at the defection of PDP chieftains in Lagos. Over 5,000 of them were said to have defected over the weekend, received by Rauf Aregbesola comrade, diffusing, potting into the fold of the ADC. Now, on that occasion, there were principal people, Ashurubi, Mr. Adams, Mr. Tunji Shele, Captain Tunji Shele, all of them saying they have left the PDP, they are moving into the ADC. Now, Olateju, speaking at that occasion, representing Atiku Abubakar, then said, well, Atiku Abubakar is not desperate, it's not as if he wants to be president at all costs, but there has now been a rebuttal. Atiku Abubakar, speaking from his other country, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is on record as having said no. In fact, in 2027, ADC will shock the world, because he is determined to take power from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that he will run. Nobody should go and say that he will not run. And that Professor Olateju saying he is not desperate, he will not run at all costs. Atiku more or less is saying he will run at all costs. So you see, there is some kind of, chemistry, mathematics about this 2027. And we have not seen the end of it. It's an evolving story. It's a developing story. After all, over the weekend, President Obasanjo was quoted by Leadership newspaper as preparing to publish a book very soon Nigeria, past and present, in which he said, according to leadership, I'm not the one saying so, leadership says that President Obasanjo says that President Buhari is the most incompetent person that ever showed up in the presidency of Nigeria, and that President Tinubu is following very closely. So in other words, in that book, President Obasanjo is going to write off President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So all of these things will affect the calculations, as we move towards 2027. And there's also the Jonathan question. In Kano, on Sunday, I think it was yesterday, one Dr. Kiari, leading the group, said that, in fact, bring back our good luck. That this bad luck of poverty and debt servicing is too much. They want their bad luck back. So it's a very, they want their good luck back. So it's a very fluid situation as we look at this developing story. So Atiku saying he wants to come back. Well, Dr. Kiari of the Bring Back Our Good Luck group in Kano that met at the Aminu Kano Center yesterday said that Atiku, Abubakar, and every other person, Peter Obi, Kwankwanso, they should all go and sempe. That's not an English word. They should all just give up and allow President Jonathan to lead, the struggle against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But what I don't understand is this construction of Nigerian politics in personal terms, in these Manichaean terms. It didn't help us previously. I don't see how it will help us this time.
All right, let me start with the ADC story and
a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Now, Atiku has finally said that he is desperately interested in running for 2027 presidential election. That he's desperate and he wants to contest by all means. And ADC is going to shock the world. I'm waiting for that shocking of the world. You see, if Atiku is interested in contesting 2027 election and they go through primaries, Atiku wins from the primaries through by giving dollars and whatever, that one is already a dead ADC. That ADC cannot win election against Tinubu. If giving the ticket to Rotimi is the same thing, Wike said Rotimi ambition is dead on arrival. If Rotimi wins that ticket in that primaries, I don't think Rotimi can win against Atiku in the primaries. I don't think Peter Obi himself can win against Atiku in that primaries. Atiku is the founder or is the major and edifier of that coalition. All of them, they are together. But hey, Atiku, since he is desperate and he has been desperate for six election cycle, presidential election cycle to run, yet he has not gotten it right. He has not got it. What gives him the assurance that he's going to get it this time? This time that is very critical. That Atiku is not the one to challenge Tinubu. That Nigeria, he's qualified, maybe qualified. I'm not saying that every one of us is qualified. Even me, I am qualified. You listening to me, except I don't know your background, you are qualified. But we are talking about somebody that Nigerians will be willing to support, so that the ADC with their muscles and the political actors in that ADC will willing their muscle to support the person. Why Nigerians will come out in a mass to support that person, so that it will be easier to defeat Tinubu 2027. But if Atiku still want to continue waste this precious opportunity for another person, that means Tinubu will just be laughing. Because number one, somebody like me, I cannot vote for Tinubu. I cannot vote for Atiku. I cannot vote for Rotimi. As I've just said this, a lot of people are also in my shoes. A lot of Nigerians, youth, are also in my shoes. That they cannot vote for APC. They cannot vote for ADC if giving the ticket to Rotimi or if giving the ticket to APC or to Atiku. So definitely Peter Obi said he's going to contest. And he's not going to deputize anybody. He's going to contest. He's not going to deputize anybody. If he's not contesting under ADC, it means he's contesting under Labour Party. So now, if two of them is contesting, they are going to split the vote again. Going to split the vote again. PDP will have their own. ADC will have their own. Now he's even going to, if Aho is going to win this election, the figure that the person is going to use to win this election might not even be up to 6,000, 8,000, that I think it was 8,000 plus, that Tinubu, they declared Tinubu the winner. Who is going to win this election if all of them are contesting? They will not have up to 8,000 or 8 million votes rather. They will not have up to 8 million votes because PDP is definitely going to contest. PDP will bring in their candidate, whether he's going to win or lose. ADC, it was 3, okay, still 4 that time. APC, Kwankwaso Group, PDP, and Labour Party was 4. This divided the vote. It's still going to be the same thing. Now ADC. Well, now then Sabi, instead of me to vote for APC, instead of me to vote for ADC under Atiku, Tinubu should just continue. And again, you see the problem we are talking about, Ohanaeze Indigbo, that it is not their turn yet to contest for the presidency. Nonsense. If you want to tell me that it is not your turn to contest, you should have waited for that time. You should have waited for that time to contest when the time comes to announce to us who will represent the Igbo to contest the election. Why not? Because the reason Dave Umehi has already showed interest, so you guys are backing Dave Umehi. Now the major reason is Dave Umehi is serving under APC, and now they are thinking APC is going to win 2027 election, right? 2027 election, and Dave will still be there. They might still be with Tinubu till 2031 if he wins, God forbid. So that's the reason why they are not declared, because of Dave Umehi pushing themselves backwards, that it is not their turn yet. Until that time, is Dave Umehi qualifies more than Peter Obi? The answer is no. During their governor in their different state where they govern, did Dave Umehi perform than Peter Obi? The answer is no. Did Dave Umehi have the competence, the character more than Peter Obi? The answer is no. So why is it Dave Umehi? Because of this political interest agenda. So anyways, that's why they say the Igbo, they are even the problem of themselves, that they are not united. Where it happens, even the Yoruba fashion, Afenifere, and they have different fashions under them, just like PDP have different fashions, Labour Party have different fashions. This is not the interest of Nigerians. It's just their own interest, their own selfish interest. That is the problem of this country. Until we are united, ready to do things accordingly. Otherwise, we are not moving forward as a country. Just imagine, anybody have right to contest. If you know you have what it takes to contest, you are qualified. Doesn't matter. There's no constitutions. There's nowhere it is written in the constitutions that until 2035, or 37, before the Igbo can present a presidential candidate. It is not constitutional. So this is just the Igbo. They are old-fashioned saying that not all the Igbos. You are qualified if you have what it is. You know you can withstand the force. You are qualified. Anyways, what do you think about this? Please share this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be your guide on for me now, so that you get updates like this.